think that by now, most people on this planet can agree that racism is bad. Throughout the history of humanity, absolutely horrid events such as the slave trade and Holocaust, to name a few, have occurred simply because one race believed that they were genetically superior to the other. This cowardly, childish belief that one's skin color or religious background speaks to their character has literally torn the world apart. Whenever I think back to an event like World War II, I see Hitler or Hirohito as a kindergarten sadist running around the playground kicking kids in the shins because they looked or acted differently. Unfortunately, the actions of these two pathetic bigots were much worse and resulted in severe global consequences for generations to come. The fact that these two men, along with hundreds like them, have risen to power during our short existence on this earth displays the cowardice and sheer stupidity of the human race, because the belief that one is better than another because they are different is solely rooted in fear. People are terrified of what is different, because accepting what is different implies change, and change is always unknown. This fear of difference and change is the main reason why racism toward Africans began, and it is the same reason why the Nazis murdered 6 million people. It is the reason why basic human rights in America have been denied to women, African Americans, and immigrants for hundreds of years. Think about it. George Washington, our first president, a man who owned slaves, was inaugurated into office in 1789. It has taken us 219 years to even consider electing an African American president. Don't get me wrong, the election of Barack Obama was a huge step toward equality, but the fact that it took 2 centuries of discrimination and bigotry to have that happen is just disgraceful. Home of the brave, my ass. The people in this country are so frightened of what's different, and so unwelcome of change that when it comes to gaining civil rights, we are moving at a snail's pace. And this is why I am here. This video is meant to be a wake-up call to all of you who still wallow in fear of the dark, in fear of change, and in fear of each other. When it comes to subjects such as legalizing gay marriage, you would be doing this country a huge favor if you just backed off and let it happen now, instead of having to make the rest of us wait another 200 years. There is absolutely no point in fighting.
Resistance is useless.
You're going to lose, eventually. The rest of the world seems to be on track. Why aren't you? Face it, your numbers are dwindling, and if you gave up now, it would make things easier for everyone. But of course you won't do that. And do you know why? It's because you live your life based on a 2,000-year-old, poorly written book of contradictions that has absolutely no relevance in this day and age. The very fact that you cling so desperately to something so old is clear evidence of your fear of change, your fear of what's different. And the content of that thing to which you cling, the Bible, also displays your cowardice in the face of change. The only reason you believe in an afterlife is to soothe your fear of the ultimate change, the ultimate unknown, and that is death. The fact is, those who claim to know what happens after death are either liars or cowards, or both, and they fear change more than anyone. So this video is for you, you obstacles on the road in the way of America's progress. All of you, Glenn Beck, Rush Limbaugh, Sarah Palin, the church, Barack Obama, and all of your followers. You need to grow some balls and face the inevitable. Your fear is holding you back, which in turn holds us back, and is actively making us the laughingstock of the rest of the civilized world. Your fear, while much less dangerous, is the same fear that is responsible for the slave trade and the Holocaust. It is time to deal with it.